Hello everybody, my name is Mr Veale and I'm the head teacher of Atwood Primary Academy, which is situated in Sanderstead in South Croydon. And today is Friday the 12th of June 2020 and it is a very special day for Atwood because we turn 60 today. So it is our 60th birthday and we had so many things and important, wonderful celebrations to get involved with the children before lockdown, but sadly we cannot celebrate our birthday in full style, so we are going to just hold a very simple ceremony or commemoration on our playground, making sure that we're socially distanced, and that will happen at 11 o'clock, and I'm sure that I will take some footage and put it in this video for you to have a look at. And plans are already afoot for celebrating Atwood at 60+1 next year in June 2021. And hasn't it been a funny old week weather-wise, but that hasn't stopped us from getting out into our Forest Schools area. And this week we have lit the campfire most days, and the children in their small bubbles have spent some time around the fire. They've gathered sticks and they have had a wonderful time, and I know they've shared stories, they've been read stories, and they've had some music over there because I know certainly in year 6 Mr Dench took his guitar over there, and I thought it would be lovely to do some campfire cooking on Monday. And so we cooked up a lovely full English lunch that Mr Dench and I shared, and the children have very much enjoyed this, and I know in year 6 they want to do some campfire cooking next week, and I think we've got some exciting things planned for them. And as if by some sort of coincidence, this week's word of the week has a camping theme as well, because it is tent. And it says here, many of us have been creating dens or shelters during lockdown. Did you know that the word tent is a sibling of the word tents? The words go back to the Latin tendere, which means to stretch, because early tents were made of cloth or animal skins stretched across poles. And when you're feeling tense, you feel mentally stretched or strained. And so this word of the week is tent. And it is lovely that we've had the opportunity to get outside, hasn't it, to learn beyond the classroom. So join me later in this episode to catch up with what other things that we've been getting up with. So I'll see you soon. Come on guys, we need stickage, not chattage.
I've got an L for Leo. Where's the grip? I've got an L.
I'm just going to go and have a little chat.
We've just found our frying pan problem.
Yeah, come over here. Right,
Yeah,
what we'll do,
yeah.
we'll get the large ones across. The large ones. That's it, good go.
He wants you to go over taking those twigs. Be quick because that lot are just going to say, oh, they want things.
And I've got to get these so we can finish in the circle. Then we can sit round it, can't we?
All of my sticks.
Number 18 is peas or peats? Peas?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Okay. Like as in a vegetable, not... Right, okay, the other one, the other type.
Left and right.
Okay. And which way are you going? Oh really?
Yeah, it felt like it was real and I was like, ooh.
Oh, garden where people would pull up, and they couldn't see me, kind of.
So be careful if you're grabbing at it, you might get a spike. From the leaves, see there's little spikes onto the leaves, and this is a small one, so the spikes are bigger.
Yeah, I scratched the bark off and stick on the table. And the sky's about... Yeah, on a wooden
Can you see anything there, Eli?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, it's getting hot, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see a bit of fire
Very
on the
smoky where
bottom.
you are, Grace.
I can see
No,
smoky
no, no,
in
no.
my bottom.
Wow.
That's it. Cross over, okay? Very safe.
It's going on me.
Oh, don't sit in that smoke too much.
It's
It's not going to be very nice.
It's going lower now.
Here we go!
Yeah.
There we go.
Right, red. Oh, it's blowing so high.
That is really cool.
You look so squiggly because of the heat.
Now I know we mentioned earlier the events that we have been witnessing in America and also the demonstrations in London, and in the Wheat Junior there's this man here, and many of you will of course recognise him. It's Raheem Stirling, and he is the footballing star who is always ready to speak out. So England footballer Raheem Stirling turned his focus from sport to a far more important topic in a TV interview last week. Stirling was addressing the issue of racism following the protests across the United Kingdom and the United States in response to the death of a man in the United States called George Floyd. Stirling said, well, just like a pandemic, we want to find a solution to stop it. Stirling was born in Jamaica in 1994. His mother Nadine competed in athletics at a national level. The star says that he learnt his unique running style from her. He never knew his father, who died when Stirling was only 2 years old. The family moved to Neasden near Wembley in northwest London when Stirling was 5. Stirling had behavioural problems and went to a special school where his teacher told him he had enough talent to be playing for England by the time he was 17, as long as he could stay out of trouble. Stirling was recruited as a winger by Queen's Park Rangers, a team in London, when he was aged 10. 5 years later, he was signed by Liverpool. When he was 17, he played his first game for England. In 2015, he was sold to Manchester City for £49 million. In 2017, Stirling was racially abused and physically attacked. Racism is treating people badly or unfairly because of their race. Stirling has been racially abused in several incidents, and this has led him to speak out against it. Stirling has called for more black people to be given the chance to become footballing managers and to hold important positions within the sport. He pointed out that whereas many white England players were given the chance to manage top clubs after they stopped playing, England stars who are black usually become managers in much smaller jobs to begin with. Craig Mitch, the host of the England YouTube channel, said, "Any creed or colour can look at him as a total and utter inspiration, and that's the highest act a human can perform, and that is one to inspire." And so last year Stirling bought 550 tickets for pupils at his old school to attend Manchester City's FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. So we can look up to the wonderful Raheem Stirling. Now it gives me great pleasure to also commemorate another special birthday, but not a 60th birthday, but an 80th birthday, because here it is, let's just put some light on there, it is a birthday party for books, because the publisher Puffin marks its 80th birthday, and I've got fond memories of Puffin because when I was at school, one of our wonderful teachers when I was small used to run a special book club, the Puffin Club, and I used to vividly remember that probably every term a lovely Puffin Post magazine would come out, like a small catalogue about that size, in which you could select your next book. And if you were really, really lucky and you had saved up your pocket money and so on, you would bring that money in and give it to the teacher, and then they would send it off, and then a couple of weeks later the new book arrives. And I can really remember how much I used to enjoy that, and we used to have reading club and so on. And I know because of that teacher, I'm definitely sure fostered a deep interest in reading for me. And we also had a very special visit. We went to London to, I think it must have been a book fair, and at that point I met Roald Dahl and Quentin Blake, who were doing a book signing, and I got one of my Roald Dahl books signed by both of them, and it's a really special memory, and it's a treasured possession still. So yeah, Puffin Books. So here we go then. Yes, so to celebrate, there's going to be a week-long online book festival called the Festival of Big Dreams that runs in June. And so lots of authors and illustrators will be contributing to that. But Puffin started way back in 1940 and published non-fiction picture books. It was dreamt up by a man called Noel Carrington, who came up with the idea inspired by books he saw being given out to the children in Russia. He took the idea to Alan Lane, the founder of Penguin Books, who agreed to create a new series of books called Puffin Picture Books. This was during the Second World War, and the first 3 Puffin books were all about what was happening in the war across air, land and sea. During the conflict, many children were evacuated or sent away from cities to the countryside, where it was seen to be safer. For these children, Puffin made a series of picture books about animals and nature. The company soon started publishing storybooks as well, and since then Puffin has released hundreds of books for young children. So it's absolutely amazing. I've got lots of not only Penguin books, but these wonderful Puffin books, and here is one of them. So that is Roald Dahl, Fantastic Mr Fox. I've read that many times, and I have also read it to my children, and that was first published in 1974. I have to recommend this one here. Not only is it fantastically written by Clive King, it's called Stig of the Dump, one of my favourite illustrators. Edward Ardzoni, he's got such a beautiful pen and ink style with the cross hatching and so on, and I have read this book, Stig of the Dump, when I was a child, but also when I was a teacher we studied this book as part of guided reading. I cannot recommend it enough. So let's talk about that one. Published in 1963, Stig of the Dump is Clive King. Is his book about a boy who becomes friends with a caveman. And the book is set in a village called Ash in Kent, which is near where I live, where the author grew up. Over the years it has been adapted many times for theatre and television, and both ITV and the BBC have made television series of the book. And it's just such a wonderful story about crossing time, meeting a caveman, observing what the caveman does, and then I'm not going to spoil the story, but towards the end it's really quite a mystical and lyrical tale of friendship. Wonderful. And then here is Wurzel Gummidge, and written by Barbara Hewson Todd, and it was one of the first storybooks that Puffin published way back in 1941. And of course, many of you will know it tells the story of a friendly scarecrow that comes to life, and it was very popular when I was growing up. The television series, probably some of your mums and dads would know that, but also I noticed that there was a modern retelling of Wurzel Gummidge that was put on by the BBC over the Christmas holiday. So there we go, Puffin at 80. Wonderful news. I'm hoping you've enjoyed this week's episode, and I've just opened the post actually, and look, a beautiful rainbow, and I'm opening this card here. It says, "Dear Atwood, happy 60th birthday, love from Jessica in Orange class," and there are 4 kisses. So there we go. And I open this one as well, and look at that beautiful picture. It's an Atwood jumper, and I think that's the Atwood lion. And it says, "To Atwood, happy birthday from William." And what a wonderful way to end this week's episode, wishing our fantastic school a happy 60th birthday. I wish everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Take care. Bye now. Right, let's go. Something like PCK. Oops. that was funny. That's staying in. Right. So, hello everybody. Thank you.